Okay, we'll call to order the Carroll County Board of Commissioners meeting of April 29th. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Yes.
Yes, David.
Am I unmuted? Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to discuss the HR position in non-public, the HR position in public, the assisted living survey proposal, and the department head meeting.
David, the only part in non-public was HR, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other additions to the agenda?
I think we don't have the insurance on the agenda, and I think we are going to discuss that, are we?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We should have that on. Yep.
That's in public, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Approval of the minutes for April 22nd.
So moved.
I'll second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes of April 22nd. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, roll call, sorry.
Roll call. Roll call.
Commissioner Baxter?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes?
Commissioner Beaver?
Yes.
Thank you.
David, do we have permission to use your stamp for this? For the minutes?
The minute? Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will you take care of that, Melissa, please?
Yes, I will.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
you have to announce who's at this meeting on, because it's electronic, and the reason something's happening here. I just
It's
went
okay.
down, it says I was using my iPhone, and I wasn't. iPhone isn't even here. And anyway, you have to announce, and that leads to another question. We have call-in user number 1 to the call-in people that are here and by the public, and on an ordinary day if they're not contributing, they don't have to say anything. Do they have to identify themselves in a phone call, virtual meeting like this?
I believe they do that in order to get the password. Is that correct?
Yeah, any participant should identify themselves for everyone. And see if I can find out who that is.
In order to get the password, they have to call Laura, and she gets their name and phone number so that we can identify them, so that we know that we're not being hacked into.
Well, mine says call-in user number 1. My question is, do we have the right to ask them who it is, or is it like a regular other public meeting if they were here in person? Unless they address the body, they wouldn't have to identify themselves.
I believe in order to get the password, they had to have identified themselves already. So if they should probably be perfectly all right with being identified. If not, then I would be suspect as to how they got the password. And the
Well,
last,
they may get the password, but maybe they don't want somebody to know they're listening to the meeting.
Hello.
how did you, they came into the waiting room, correct?
Mhm.
And then how did you identify them to let them into the meeting?
I just let them in, and I believe the call-in user is Joe Haas. I think he's on the Zoom and calling in.
So he is Melissa knows who they are, so that doesn't necessarily have to be a public, but I would think if it's a public meeting and they're present, that would be public information.
Well, if it was a public meeting or on the regular, it would be who was there attending the meeting. The first thing on our minutes. Why would this be different?
We don't.
I'm not sure I understand that statement, David. If it's a public meeting,
If it was a public meeting, a regular public meeting, the minutes always show who's present. What is the difference I think the person wants to identify themselves.
right, I think people should be identified. Yes, sir. Can you,
Yes, I put my name, Joe Haas here, I put my name on the
It's right there.
chat.
It's right there.
So I'm on both, the computer and the phone, but I have the speakers off.
all right, thank you. So is that the caller number one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just changed it.
So they're all identified now, David?
I just
That's
renamed
good.
it.
That's all I'm showing.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So I think for the announcement that we have to announce all of the people that are here as well as the officials, is that correct, David?
I don't know. I know that you have to say the board members that are at the meeting, you have to announce that we're some of us are remote.
Okay. I have that note right here before media questions to say that David Babson is remote and that Howie at the Mountain View is remote. And Clarence?
That's Cheryl.
Oh, Cheryl Loran.
Carroll, Laurent.
Got it now, is remote. And although it shows that Joe is remote, he's not, he's present. And the Director of Finance is also present, physically present. And I think that's everybody that's an official. Yes, David?
And I think you ought to announce that Clearview TV is, I think, live streaming it if people want to watch it.
Well, I believe Ed is live streaming it.
Also.
More the merrier.
Okay. All right. So if we can now continue, do we have any media questions?
We do.
Would you state your name and the media?
Yep, this is Damon Steer with the Comeau Daily Sun. And I was interested in finding out what's happening with the HR position. And I guess there was a vote to terminate. I don't know if it was 3-0 or 2-1. And I'm trying to find out, is this going to be partially discussed in public? Or,
Yes.
well, I don't think I can stay for the whole thing or very long today, but I'll try to follow up, or maybe Melissa could tell me what outcomes there are by deadline. But just, you know, we lost the administrator position, then we lost the HR director position, then we don't really have anybody who's really well versed in HR at this point, like in the former administration office, and I'm just kind of wondering about county stability. And I know Melissa's there as a coordinator, but I don't know if she has the background that Ken or Bonnie had, and I'm just we're kind of wondering what's going on and how we're going to deal with all these complicated HR questions that I'm sure come up often.
Well, I think that's all going to be discussed today, David. The
Okay.
questions will be answered.
Okay.
Any other media questions?
That's it.
Okay, any public input?
Yes. Joe Haas is there?
Yes?
The question number 5 that I put in last week was put on the chat, but I didn't have a chance to talk about it. And that's my public input number 1 of 3, and I just put it on the chat. So I'll just summarize it verbally if I could. And that is a friend of mine who was a state rep, Dick Marple, down in Hooksett. He found a U.S. code and a New Hampshire statute that says elected officials, which you 3 are not really employees. So to put you in the employee and to deduct, federal stuff out of there is not the way to do it, unless you want it to be done. I guess, I don't know if you even asked, to like build up your quarters to get your Social Security or something. I don't know. But that's one issue that I'd like, for the finance person, the county treasurer or somebody to look into and then get back to me if that would be possible. And what I did, I put this in an email that I sent to Laura last night. And the second issue is on these public or non-public sessions. When you cite the RSA, you go from A to L, and I think it was C last time. And under C, there's subsections of what the discussion is about. Is it about dismissal, promotion, compensation, discipline, investigation? I just thought it would be nice to have that detailed, because I did contact one town office yesterday, and the man said it was under merit pay, so, rather than dismissal. I just thought that would be nice to have that in there, And the third one that I wanted to talk about, the third and last one here, is on that RSA 189:68-A, Roman numeral 1B2, which is the County Office of Education. I did send Laura also the archives of that. It's not on the internet. It's all PDF file. I haven't read it yet, but I would like somebody mentioned Caitlin Davis last time, the Department of Education. And there ought to be some more people on that you could invite to this, to set this up. And I would say, the commissioner himself, Frank Edelblue. Another one would be Michael Cryans, your executive counselor. And because it's dealing with all this tax stuff, the Condell case is going on down in Concord at the Supreme Court, I thought the 2 county tax collector educators from the association, I don't know who they are, and the last would be the DRA woman, the chairwoman, commissioner, Lindsay Stepp from Holdens. I just thought it would be nice to have everybody in one room or in a chat to talk about it. And when I find out the details, I'll let you know. I don't know if any county has ever done this before. But I just thought it would be nice to start it here because of all these, none of this downshifting is supposed to occur of the tax rates to these towns. I mean, that's beyond your jurisdiction, but I thought, since you do have that in the statute, you could, it's enabling legislation, you would start it up. So that's all I have to say for today.
All right, thank you very much for your public input. Is there any other public input? All right, if not, we'll continue. Joe, what was the manifest approval for the week ending April 24th, 2020?
I believe our coordinator has that number.
I don't,
I emailed it to you at the meeting last time.
from last,
Yes,
all right. Let me just,
I didn't bring it with me, so.
let me see.
We'll get that number for you, Madam Chair.
Okay, moving right along. The first of our work session is a review of the first quarter financials, and Kathy Armstrong is here to help us with this. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. Did you need it? I brought some printouts, but I didn't know if you guys wanted anything I touched, so. You need them?
You have it in your packet.
I have them. We got them last week, so I had printed.
No, this is what I sent yesterday.
Okay.
Those
so
are a
these-
printout of what she sent yesterday.
Okay, these
Yep.
are the updates, so
Yep.
I won't use mine. Okay. I'll just mark them new so I know which ones we're doing.
428.
All right. Kathy, is there anything special that pops out that we should know about right off?
Not really. The first quarter doesn't have a lot of information. People are slow to get their expenses. The revenues are slow to come in. Just be aware that the next quarter is going to be far more telling about what's going on with COVID-related expenses and lost revenues. It just hasn't shown up yet, but it will.
All right, well, it looked like the Registry of Deeds revenues were fine.
Right, because this all hit at the end of the first quarter, so if there's going to be effects, it's going to show up in the second quarter.
Okay, April, May, and June.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. David, did you have any questions about these?
No, I don't.
Kathy, Terry, did you have any questions?
No,
Do you guys want to go through them line by line, or have you reviewed them?
I saw them yesterday, so I don't have any questions.
David, do you want to go through them line by line, or are you all set with it?
I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, but I'm trying to find them. My printer doesn't work very well, so I didn't print them out, and I got my cell phone going, and I got my computer going, and I'm looking for the email that came here, I believe it was Friday with the information. I looked at it over the weekend, and I only saw part of it, but I'm looking for right now. You sent that
Yes,
on
it
the
would've-
27th, right?
He would have received the financials from Kathy yesterday about 3:30?
Yeah, in
Probably.
the afternoon, yeah.
Kathy said she sent them to you about 3:30 yesterday
Oh,
afternoon.
Kathy, that's why, yeah, I got them right here. I think. Okay, here are the attachments. We're going over expenditures. I thought we were doing pretty well. I got through the county attorney, and we're doing very well. I don't think any of them are near 25%.
Right. Joe, did you have a comment?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me okay, Representative, Commissioner David? Can you hear me okay, sir? Yes.
Commissioner David can hear you fine.
Thank you, sorry. I went through these and talked with Kathy a little bit about them yesterday, and I realize it's the first quarter, but the thing that I'm watching is the expenses are basically 22% of the budget for the first quarter, which is a good thing. However, the revenue is only 18% of the first quarter, which might be a concern when we get to the second quarter and see where we're at, bottom line, revenue and expenses. In other words, the revenue isn't... Yes, sir.
David?
Oh, Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought we were talking about expenses, because I have something to say about the revenue when it gets there.
Yeah, we were in the expenses.
Uh.
and-
I apologize, commissioners, I was looking at the total picture here.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, David.
Don't forget, we have things like, I think it's, the workman's compensation, and there was another one that we had to pay the full year for in January. And so when you get to March, and you're at 21 or 22, 23%, whichever it was, that includes total payment for some items that are expensive for the whole year. So we're really doing better than that figure, maybe by 1 or 2 points. But it's, if it says 23 and we paid for the whole year on something, we've done a good job.
I believe that was the dental insurance. Right,
Well, this workman's compensation, I believe, has to be paid in January. Maybe I'm wrong.
no, I don't think so, David, because on this
No.
report, it shows 0 right now. The 24% was the medical insurance. Which I believe is health insurance, is that not right, Kathy?
Correct.
Correct. So we have paid 24% of the medical insurance, which would be in keeping with the annual, because I believe it's paid quarterly, is that right?
No, we pay it monthly.
Okay.
The health we pay every month.
Yeah, IDN looks like we paid that, is that correct, Kathy?
We did?
Yeah, all of that, so that's a big chunk.
Yes, the payment to HHS, we made that one in March, I believe. The whole payment for the year, so we're done with that. Any other questions on the expenses?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. I guess no.
On the county facilities budget, the 4198, it's showing 13% expended. And I know that probably doesn't take into account the March bill, but is that showing an indication that we're saving money in the electric and the propane lines yet, or is it too early to tell?
Well, it's kind of early. However, if you would like me, I can pull out the detail and I can look to see what's been charged to that account. Bob Murray's in charge of that budget.
He told us that it wouldn't be until probably second quarter before we would start to see any change. That's what he told us last time.
I also had a question about, next Friday is the delegation meeting, and I'm wondering, I know the numbers won't be final or perfect, but is there a way to get an April report, like a snapshot of what the end of April looked like, so they can see the impact that the COVID has had on the county for that month, rather than waiting until the end of the second quarter is up?
They can look at the.
They might want to
what's
see
been
how it's
expended.
tracking.
They can look at, I can run a report. I can do it every day of the week if you like. I can run it at that moment in time. But I can't tell you the final for April in a week.
Right.
It's not possible.
Okay. I'm just trying to anticipate something they might ask for.
I was speaking
Thank
with Edie Damaris, chairman, yesterday, and that, she did not mention that. I told her the first quarter
I sent it to them all.
was done, and she was pleased with that. I don't know if they're going to have that on the agenda or not to discuss. She was putting the agenda together yesterday, I think.
Yes, we will. Yep.
There's still not a lot of the facts showing up yet for COVID. It's just, the billing is just coming in, and I created a project for COVID, so when the department heads send it in, Cheryl can add that code, and then we'll be able to track it that way. So there's some, and the department heads have told me they will send in, but there's not a lot yet.
I know that different counties have been claiming a lot of problems, but I've checked, and the more I check here, it seems to be that, you know, our people are doing an excellent job. They're coming to work, you know, there is extra cleaning supplies, there are extra things that are being used, but nowhere near the numbers I thought it would probably end up being. So I've been impressed, so we'll see what happens. Anything else on the expenses? Anything on the revenue? David, you had a comment on revenue?
Yes, let me go to the revenue page here. Okay, there's revenue. The Registry of Deeds is at 21%. The jail borders, we've taken in $5,000 out of a revenue of, projected revenue of 160,000, so that's a problem. Where they go now? Revenue, let's see if that brings it back.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. All of our revenues basically are down. And some of them are scary down.
I thought the Registry of
Yeah.
Deeds was right on.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. Maybe I read it wrong. Let me just see. Registry of Deeds is 21%. Or is, yeah, it's 21%. Correct, Anna?
Yeah, but, the recording fees are at 24%, and the online services are at 62%. I think those are the ones that are really important. And the LCHIP, those are the incomes that we're actually getting. I was looking to see what the,
Madam Chairman, I don't think you're reading that, this sheet correctly. That isn't what 62% that we've got in. That's the remaining balance.
no, David. On the online access, it's budgeted for 24,000. They have taken in 14,000.
Okay, so you're right. It's the 62 is what we've gotten so far.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, David, that's correct.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So don't these people pay once a year at a given time?
I think it's their renewal date, whatever that may be. I don't think it's a one-time, you know, everybody pays in January thing.
Okay.
The recording fees are the ones that I was concerned about, and they were at 24%, which, you know, that's kind of right on to what it should be for the year, you know, a fourth of the year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think January, February, March are usually a big amount. I think, if I remember correctly, Lisa had said that they were ahead of where they were last year. I think when I was talking with her that her total loss maybe due to the COVID up to date was maybe $1,000. So,
That's all?
yes. I believe that's the figure that was turned into the Association for Counties.
She had 600 actually.
Yeah, did you hear that, David? Kathy said it was actually 600. I think that was for the first quarter.
They were going, we're not sure, we're trying to dial that in. Jason was reaching out to her yesterday because everyone else was projecting for 6 months. So I'm pretty sure 600 doesn't cover 6 months for her. So he was getting those tighter figures because they were due it to the Association of Counties yesterday at the end of the day.
Did you hear that, David?
Yeah, I can hear, but I can't tell what she said.
She said that Jason and Lisa were trying to get a 6-month figure because that's what they're trying to get for the Association of Counties, because they're trying to give to, I'm not sure if it's the governor or the federal government, what we're losing in the county due to the coronavirus.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Both, okay, both. So, in short, is that what you said, Kathy?
Right, yes, yep. And they didn't give me those numbers that they came up with. So Lisa's the best one, that's her business, so.
Yeah.
But we were just certain $600 was not gonna be the whole half year sum total lost.
Okay. Anything else on the revenue, David? Terry, anything on the revenue?
No.
Oh, I'm all set.
I do think that for the jail income, I think that, Kathy, you record that when they pay, right?
Correct.
And they're, as we've known in the past, they're a little slow to pay for the
Yes.
boarders. So I would expect that January, February, March probably only covers maybe January.
Yeah, it's very slow coming in, especially at the beginning of the year. So that's why what I said at the beginning. First quarter is traditionally slow.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, did Superintendent Henry report last week that they're not taking in orders right now?
They're not taking any new
New
ones.
boarders.
New ones,
Yeah.
so-
No new ones.
Since it started, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
They'd like to take no new anybody, but unfortunately, people are still committing crimes. And that,
Madam Chair,
yes, David. David?
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, the contract for the state. Does that mean that the 40,000 that we still have, we haven't had any income? Does that mean they're sending their people here and they're taking over 90 days to pay? Or does it mean we haven't taken any we haven't taken any boarders in from the state?
I don't know the answer to that, David, but Superintendent Henry's going to join us later on, and you can ask him at that time.
Okay, because I don't think, you know, they can pay, the state wants us to pay everything or there's a penalty. It doesn't work when they have to pay, apparently. If we've taken in boarders, and this is the end of the first quarter, and we still haven't received a penny, there's something wrong here.
Well, we'll have to ask Jason that when he comes, when he joins us.
Okay.
He's not here yet. All right, there's no other questions on the treasurer's report. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with us, Kathy, while you're here?
No, no set.
All right, thank you very much for the Avenue update. I got that yesterday.
Okay.
Did that go to all the delegation members also?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. You? Okay, good. Thank you. I do things kind of in a hurry sometimes.
All right. Anything else you need to share with us today?
No,
All right.
I just got a lot of work to do, so get back to it.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Superintendent Henry, there he is. Good morning, sir. Is he on?
Good morning.
Yes.
Should be on full screen.
Yeah, right.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Whoops.
And we can't see you, that's even better.
No,
Sorry. There you go.
before we start with your report, Jason, David had a question about your revenue figures. We just went over the first quarter revenue, and he had a question for you. David? You gotta unmute, David. Did he mute himself?
Yes, you're right. We were just looking at the revenue, Jason, and we budgeted 40,000 for state guests. We're now through 90 days and we don't have a penny from the state. Is that because we haven't taken in any inmates, or that they're taking 90 days to pay the bill?
I think 9 days to pay, but we have 2 state inmates right now. I'll check with Sherry. I can check with Sherry what she's billed out. So, we just may have not received it yet. They're slow on payments, just like everybody else. But,
do you have any idea when these 2 came here?
yeah, I think beginning of the year. I can get that to you today. I can go look today and get it to you.
Because, this isn't right. We're taking these people for them, and our costs are up there. And if they're not paying us this is the middle of April, or almost the 1st of May, that's 4 months, and we haven't got any money from them. Maybe we ought to be thinking twice about what we do.
Yeah, let me double check and I'll get back to you today on where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Jason, do you know how often they get billed?
Usually monthly.
Okay.
But just like other jails and other places with what they're dealing with, it's always slow on payments. Even other jails, when we bill out, as you've seen before, we don't receive payments sometimes for months on end, and that's pretty typical. But I will check and see. I can check with Sherry how many we billed out and exactly where we're at. I can give you those figures.
Okay, David, follow up?
Yeah, I want to ask Jason a question. Is that all right?
Yes, certainly.
Jason, why you've got a very strong and active superintendents association. Why don't you guys get together and say, we're not going to help the state out if they don't pay? It was when all these restaurants were shutting down, the governor was saying you still have to pay your meals and room tax. People don't have any money. And then they turn around and don't pay us in 120 days. You guys should be putting a little pressure on them and saying, none of us are going to take them unless you can ship them out of state if you want. But, we're not going to take them unless you're going to pay us in something reasonable, like maybe 60 days instead of 120.
Yeah, that's why I said I will check it today when they were billed, where we're at, and I will get that to you guys today. I'll get you an email today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jason, you have your department head report for us today?
Sure. Haven't got a real lot. Obviously, we're pretty much locked down for the COVID. Couple of things though. The state's been pretty good about getting us PPE stuff. I did put an order in for the entire county, which yesterday my guy picked it up, and after I get done with this meeting, I have to go through all of them and then deliver it out to the nursing home and registry deeds, and those are put in orders. We are currently, myself, Jim Stoddard, and Carroll, working on a grant, which I sent over there for you guys, under the Justice Mental Health Grant Collaboration Program. I'm very excited about this one. We're looking to do something a little different. We're going to collaborate with other facilities and use more of telehealth and distance telehealth when people transition either back to the places that we board from, or even our people who transition in a community. by using there's an online program called DoxyMe. It is all HIPAA compliant, and we can actually set up case plans, not just for here, but any partner that we have, if we get the grant. And we can actually follow the person in the community through their phone, tablet, whatever, and they can just log in, and we're able to talk to them. How you doing? Do you have housing? Do you have this? Do you have that? And still follow up with their mental health treatment. They could be doing it through the DoxyMe back and forth. So it'd be very exciting. It'd be something different, and I think it'll work out very well in a rural community. Yeah, it's no cost to the county. We use the in-kind match of what we already have for staffing. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't guarantee we'll get it, but it's at least an opportunity to be able to help people transition back in the community with a lot more support. So that's something we're working on right now.
Jason, would that be people that have been released or people that are on parole?
People have been there, well, if they're on probation, then we can still follow up with probation, which is nice. We work in tandem with probation, so we can still follow them probation by using that. It also can be people that are just released and don't have probation who are willing to still want the help. And there already has been people that wanted the help with our current grant, where we send our mental health person up to North Conway and in Ossipee on Fridays, and they do show up in those offices and continue getting help that they need. This will give us another layer where actually the case manager could be sitting right at their desk right here and working with you to get you hooked up to resources and anything you need out there. And then you can bounce over to the mental health person who maybe you can't make it to those two offices, but they can sit on their phone and anywhere and still have these conversations of where you're at and counseling. So this is good. So it'd be a large help to those people getting help.
All right. Did you get anything on that grant? I didn't.
Let's see.
I don't think we've gotten an outline of the grant yet.
Madam
Yes.
Chairman, I sent a PDF of the grant to each of you on your email. It was 37 pages, so I didn't print it all out for you, but I can if you'd like me to.
No,
No.
usually, Jason, don't we get a thumbnail of the grant usually, rather than the
You
whole
will.
37 pages?
You will. That's what we're working on now.
Okay.
So
David?
you will get an outline of the grant at some point. We're still trying to put it together, and then you will get that. Yes.
Okay, thank you. David, you have a comment?
Yes, we got the copy of the grant yesterday, and I'm ecstatic. I thought Melissa said it was 46 pages, and today it's only 37. So we're going in the right direction, but that's just too much for us to comprehend in 24 hours. We should be getting, if that's the best we can do, then we should get at least a whole week to look at.
You have plenty of time. This grant is not even going in until May 18th. It's something we're working on. That's why we still are trying to write the outline. We're still trying to write everything that's on there. You guys have ahead of time. Feel free to read, look at all you want. It's not something like it's right this second. So plenty of time.
Okay. The other question is, what have we been averaging for the month of April and maybe March, if you know off the top of your head, of the inmates working?
Working?
No.
You say inmates working?
For Will, yeah.
None.
Huh?
None.
Well, there was that one young man that,
When we got locked down for the COVID, nobody's going out. So we have nobody working outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there are people there, but we're not sending them out.
No,
Thank you.
not right now. Now we're still of lockdown on everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Obviously, we're doing a ton of cleaning. That's going to be some of our big expense is cleaning over and over again. We're still doing all the screenings as we're still getting intakes coming in. We are doing quarantining if they're staying for 14 days and keeping separate on different times and cleaning in between. We currently do not have any inmates nor staff infected with the COVID-19, so thank goodness on that. If you hadn't seen the public release, Hillsborough County did have an officer that tested positive that worked third shift down there.
Which county, Jake?
Hillsborough.
Hillsborough, okay.
And so every person that person worked with has been contacted and tested, but as it stands right now, none of the county facilities have any offenders affected with it yet. So knock on wood with that. I'd like to say that we've had some lovely ladies step up in the community and make us masks. Not just for us, but when the time comes, if we have to have all the offenders wear them, we have plenty for them for cloth masks and paper masks now. So we'll be sending them thank you letters. That was really nice of them. They reached out to us.
In your case, it's an improvement.
I would agree.
Okay.
The local PDs have been awesome about communicating with me as they need stuff. I made sure they had all my information, day or night, in case they need anything. And they've been really respectful of working with us as we're trying to make sure nothing gets in.
David, you had a question? Comment?
Yeah, I do have a question. What happens, Jason, when the deputies or when the sheriff's department pick up somebody in there, or a policeman, and somebody's in the back of the cruiser? They're not 6 feet away or 10 feet away. Isn't that an increased danger?
Yeah, sure. It's an increased risk to them. Absolutely. You know, when we transport people now in our stuff, you know, we make them wear masks and everything else, and us. And on the PD, it's a little more difficult because usually the person is not complying, so you might not be able to get them to wear a mask. When they get here, what's that?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
When they get here, they put up we take their temperature, we ask a bunch of questions, and we put a mask on them when they're here, and then keep them separated. But as for the local PDs, it is a little more difficult. When you arrest somebody, you're going to be up close and personal, and yeah, they may not be able to wear a mask. That's why it's scary. It still is for us too as we get intakes. You know, but we do the best we can to try to limit exposure and quarantine.
Why would a plastic shield between the driver's front seat and the back help?
I would think so, because it has to do with you know, spray, those kinds of things. Some cruisers do have plexiglass. I know our cruisers, we have plexiglass from the back.
You do? That's what okay.
Yeah, so some do. I don't know what the PDs have done. Some of them might have put stuff up to begin with, or make them wear masks. I don't know. I can't speak for the PDs though, but I know our cruisers have plexiglass as added protection, and we're making everybody wear masks, transporting and those inmates wearing them. I'm trying to think anything else here. Beyond that, I will still say the staff has been good, showing up to work, doing their job. Obviously, with all the extra cleaning and stress on their home lives and everything else, they've been doing fantastic. I can't say enough about them. As Commissioner Beavard knows, I've tried to attend as many phone calls as I can with the FEMA, the legislative offices, everything else, any information they've needed. They are trying to push for, make sure we get our personal protective gear, push for the counties to make sure that there's going to be money coming back to reimburse the counties for any of these supplies that you've had to purchase. They're trying to push for all first responders like the Sheriff's Department and the jail to get stipend pay. I don't know if that will happen or not, but that's also a push with them. Everybody has been really good around the other counties, pulling together and trying to help each other out and figure this out. I know Kathy put in some codes, which is going to be helpful for tracking everything. For us, we've been tracking everything that's been purchasing for the COVID-19 and any issues along that relate to it. So everybody's doing their piece on that. Beyond that, I don't think I have much else that's going on over here. Oh wait, Electrician, I did let in yesterday. And then some of the Siemens came in today, I let them in. They took their temperature and stuff because they have to finish the AC portion of the control room. So that's being finished before it gets too hot out. And that wasn't their fault. We had to put a stop to it in the beginning as we tried to figure out what our protocols were going to be. And I've been working with Bob back and forth, so now we're able to get that going.
Jason, have they started looking at the roof yet?
No, I don't think Bob's even given you an RFP yet, right?
No, but I thought that they were going to inspect it to see what, never mind, that's okay, I'll talk to Bob about it. I was just curious.
Yeah, Bob was, I know I talked to him last week, and he was going to be writing an RFP on it and to bring to you guys, so.
All right.
Beyond that, we have the Northern Human Services contract, and we have going on.
Okay, Jason, the Northern Human Services, that's the same one we've been using right along.
Yeah, yep, it's the same one with the grant, we've been using right along, and then a little bit of money I was put in the budget to ride out to the end and see what happens with the next grant. But it's the same term, it's the same person, nothing has changed.
Okay,
This
what's,
one is corrected with the names. That one has council on it.
oh,
There you go.
Yeah, I had to send you the correct one, they had the old one.
what does this actually cost the county, Jason?
Nothing, it's under the grant. If we got the grant extended up until September, so from September moving forward, it would be, $15,000 is what it cost the county at the end to finish out, because the grant's running out.
So that means,
Everything else we were able to get extended.
okay, so the 15,000, it will cover October, November, and December?
Yep,
Okay.
and then we'll see what we have left, if I can continue on or not, and then if not, the contract says we can terminate at any time, 30 days without cause. We'll know more towards that time what money's in there, and I'll come back to you. If we have to terminate, then we will make sure I'll terminate 30 days prior to the end of the year, prior to January 1st.
All right, so there's no chance of getting the grant extended for the last 3 months?
Oh, no. I've extended this grant as long as the second chance grant act is, as far as we can. We've extended it twice. This is it. So we'll be able to tap every bit of money. Now, with that being said, with this other grant, if it's awarded, then we might be able to continue doing this position more in a full-time capacity moving forward. But if we don't have money, then I will go back to you guys for the budget and decide if you're willing to keep the position or not. But I will make sure that it is, if we're going to run out of money, I'll make sure that it's terminated. I'll go to you guys first, make sure that it's terminated with you guys before we incur any costs outside of what's been budgeted.
All right. So if the county takes on the full finances of this, it won't go into effect until next year's budget. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Okay. Carrie, have you had a chance to read the contract?
Yes, but do we have the money in the budget if this stops in September? So we're still looking at October, November, and December,
$15,000.
and we have that.
Yeah. Yeah. We budgeted, you guys approved, and so delegation, we approved plenty of money to cover through the end of the year at least, and maybe even a little more, but at least through the end of the year. Yeah.
Any other questions? David, have you had a chance to look at it? He's muted. Is that because of you or because of him?
That's him. I haven't touched him.
Okay, David, you're muted. There you go.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Would somebody want to, yes, Terry, I'm sorry.
Well, I know this is a grant, but nowhere on here do I see anything about a grant. Everything on here says the county is responsible for this. So that's, I'm just wondering if, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same one we've been using under the grant right all along, and they know it's only paid out of the grant. And nothing comes out of the county. The county does pay it, and then because it's a drawdown. So the drawdown from the grant puts it back into our account. So the county has to pay it, and then it's drawn down from the grant.
It's a reimbursable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion that we sign this agreement with Northern Human Services?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to sign the letter of agreement between Carroll County Department of Corrections and Northern Human Services. Are there any comments? Discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bevard?
Yes.
Thank you.
David, may we use your stamp to sign this?
Yes, you may.
And when somebody gets a chance, can I get a scanned copy over me that I can send to Northern?
I'll take one.
Melissa will take care of that. Did you
Thank
see
you.
David's stamps? Okay, the next thing is a part-time case manager.
That was the contract.
Is that Patty, is that the Northern New Hampshire, Northern, okay,
Yep.
that's all the same thing.
Yep.
All right, anything else for us, Jason? I know you have a non-public later, but,
Yep, beyond that, just looking at my notes, nope, I don't have anything else right now. Non-public, I'm sure somebody will reach out to me what time you want me back on.
I will.
how much notice, we can give you a phone call like 10 minutes before?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, that's good.
We'll set up Madam Chair, we'll set up a separate Zoom for non-public again.
Right.
We'll do that again?
Yes.
So I'll send him an
Yes.
invitation?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear that, Jason? I'll send you an invitation for another Zoom? Okay.
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 Thank
you.
Joe, you have a question?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to follow up. The manifest for last week was $39,776.65.
Would you repeat that, please?
$39,776.65.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I believe, are the hay baler. Is Will here? DPW?
Yes, he's here. I just have to unmute him. Oh,
Okay.
he's all set. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Will. Will DeWitt from the Department of Public Works. And we opened hay baler bids last week, and you were going to review them. Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I don't know, I typed one up and I was kind of last minute, so I don't know if you guys got a chance to get it, have it in front of you, but
It's in your packet. Yep.
we had 3 bids. Just as a review, we had 3 bids. Rosencrantz came in at $29,995. Trotter came in at $31,600. And Champlain Valley came in at $32,475. I would make a recommendation that we go with Rosencrantz. Obviously, they are the lower bid. That being one reason. Another reason is they are our John Deere dealer that we have we have them set up as a vendor, and we buy out most of our John Deere parts that I can't get locally down there. Our last baler, our last mower, have all come from Rosencrantz, and I've been working with Jim Rosencrantz down there, and he's helped me out. Probably answered 100 questions on this topic. So that's my recommendation.
Okay. David?
Yeah, well, where is Claudia?
They're over in Vermont.
Yeah, where?
Hold on, let me look at my notes.
Royalton.
They got
Royal?
a couple locations. I just don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
In the minutes, it says
It's
Royalton.
Ellen.
And, follow up, Madam Chair?
Yes, David.
All those bids, is the baler, delivered free?
No, Trottier's baler delivery had a charge on there for $400 to bring it over to us.
Yeah,
I didn't see a delivery charge at all on the Rosencrantz one or on the Champlain Valley. They didn't, neither one of them, I don't know if they just included it in the price or not, but they didn't put it in a subcategory.
well, what did Rosencrantz, follow up, Madam Chairman?
Yes, David.
What did Rosencrantz give you for delivery?
That's what I said, they didn't sub it out, so I don't know if it's all included in the price or
No,
not.
no, what did they give you, I meant, not delivery, availability?
He said that they would have one pretty soon, probably. He might have it sitting down there, I don't know, but I haven't really confirmed all those details until we decided whether we were going to get a vote, if you folks were gonna get a vote on it.
Well, I would recommend that we don't vote on it, that you find out whether Rosencrantz is gonna charge us for delivery, and when they were able to deliver it.
May I make a suggestion, Will, that you call Rosencrantz and find out the answers to David's questions, and then come back and when you get done with them, probably in, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, if he answers the phone, I got a cell phone, I can call him and, if he answers the phone, I'd be right back on in probably less than 10 minutes for you.
Madam Chair, he wouldn't have to leave, we could just mute him and he could do his business, so he doesn't have to go through that again, if you'd like.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
What I really meant was that you can mute and you can go on about your business, because I think you can use you're on your computer, correct?
No, I'm on my cell phone.
Oh,
My computer doesn't have a camera.
okay, then unfortunately you will have to leave, I think, and then come back. Try not leaving, try using your phone, just, mute yourself and use the phone and we'll
Sure, or I
experiment.
can use the shop phone too.
There we go.
Oh, there you go, there you go. All right, so when you get an answer, come back and we'll see you. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Can I just confirm that he's asking on if they're going to deliver it for that price and when we would expect delivery? Is that what you're asking, Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to be back in a few.
Thank you very much. All right,
Madam Chair, when we open, Madam Chair?
Yes.
When we opened those and read off the bids, I don't remember seeing a delivery charge on Rosencrantz, but I don't remember.
they usually, if there is a delivery
It's on
charge, they put it on.
Yeah.
If they don't put it on, there usually isn't one, but
Anyway,
Commissioner Baxter had his hand up.
checking is good. David,
He's muted himself, so.
you're muted.
What I was going to say is, ask Will to, make sure that they're providing us with a roll of
String?
wet, to go for, to try it out when we get it. We don't want to have to go buy a couple of rolls of whatever they call it, wrap. that should come with it.
I got a feeling they're gonna charge you for the webbing. Just like if it was a square baler, they'd charge you for the string. But he can certainly ask. Melissa, can you call Will's office phone
Okay.
and ask him to ask if there is a roll or two of webbing that comes for free with the baler?
Will's back on, he might
Well, there's Willie right there.
give me a
Madam Chairman,
Yes?
sorry, I got Mr. Rosencrantz on the phone right now, so if you'd like to ask any other questions, I was trying to talk to him and listen to you guys at the same time, I could ask him.
Yes.
Ask him if it comes with a baler, a roll of wrap.
One of the commissioners would like to know if it comes with a roll of wrap.
Webbing.
Okay. I see. Okay, he said that he has one in stock. As far as delivery, he's got it sitting down there. They have to just put it together and assemble the things that they have to do. So it will come with a partial roll of net wrap so they can make sure it's functioning properly. And then once it's all set up, they would be delivering it to us.
Nothing.
For nothing. Yes, that includes the price.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions that you have, Madam Chairman, while I have Mr. Rosencrantz on the phone?
I don't believe so. Is there, David?
It satisfies me.
Okay.
Okay,
And
okay,
then,
thank you. So they answered everything, so I'll try to give you a buzz back later. Okay, you too, bye-bye.
nice job, Will.
Oh, thank you, sorry about that.
No, that was good. I was serious.
He wants his bailiff.
Can we have a motion on the, oh my goodness, where'd I put it? The round baler from Rosencrantz to purchase?
Did
I will.
did you say we have a motion or you want a motion?
I would like a motion.
I'll make a motion, we buy the round baler from Rosencrantz.
I'll
And
second.
that it's delivered free and it comes with at least a half a roll of wrap.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to buy the baler, the round baler from Rosencrantz with half a roll of wrap and free delivery. Is there any other discussions?
You
All,
should make it a partial roll of wrap. He
okay,
didn't say it would be half, we don't wanna ruin a good business relationship, partial roll.
okay, a partial roll of wrap. If not, could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Babson,
Yes,
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes?
Commissioner Bieber.
Yes.
Thank you.
Will you take care of that for us, please?
Yes, ma'am, and hopefully I'll be on the agenda next week and we'll have some bids on the wrapper so we can take care of that also.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else exciting
Thank you.
going on over there?
Not a lot, just finishing up, picking up rocks. It's a beautiful day outside today. So that's just kind of moving along with other little projects and fixing some stuff in the shop and just rolling along, getting ready for spring.
Okay, I got two questions for you. Number one, the water and the, oh gosh, what do you call that? I guess, the water and the waste are all working well?
Yes, the water in the sewer, is that the word you're looking for, ma'am?
That's the word,
Or
yeah.
wastewater.
Yes, all right, thank you.
Yeah,
And I want to thank you very much
knock on wood, everything.
for the information you gave us about the water systems and how come the water gets cloudy every once in a while. That was very informative the other day, so. I guess that's about everything. Sorry that you're not getting any help from the jail, but Jason just told us today that they're all locked down and no one's going anywhere, so.
Yeah, I kind of, it's unfortunate, but I kind of been planning that that's going to be the case, so we're trying to do the best we can with what we got.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments for Will? All right, go out and enjoy that sunshine and the rocks.
Thank you, have a good day.
You too.
Bye, Will.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and Bob's here early. Thank you very much, Bob, for coming early. We have some bids. You have some bids for us?
One bid.
Good morning.
Morning, Bob.
Well, just one bid, Bob?
Good morning. Yep. Before you open that bid, as you know, we only had one bid show up for the paving for the fire road. I had somebody call me yesterday. The gentleman who did the sidewalks at the administration building, and he asked if he could bid, and I said, well, you know, the deadline was last Thursday. But what I will do is take it to the commissioners and see if they want to extend the deadline, so we have the opportunity to at least get one more bid in. So I told him that I would ask, and you can either extend the deadline or we open the one bid that we have.
Did you solicit bids or did you advertise it?
Both.
David, you have a comment?
Yes. I'm not muted, I guess. Do we have any legal ramifications if we extend it, Laura? We could refuse it and go out for bid again. That would, because you put in the bid that we have the right to do that. But it would seem to me, if we can do that, then we can certainly extend it for another 2 weeks in case anybody else wants to bid. We haven't opened up the first bid, so we're not letting any information out.
Right. I don't know the answer to that question, if there are any legal ramifications or not, but I think my gut tells me that if we do what we're doing and you want to extend it and we do it in public today, you can extend the deadline, let's say, for example, 2 weeks. That would give this one person an opportunity to bid without knowing what the bids are because we haven't opened them.
Do we have to run the ad again?
Can I ask a
Make
question?
it
I don't know the answer to that. I'm just throwing it out for discussion.
My
Well,
only,
I was gonna make a motion, but I don't wanna make a motion that's gonna get us in trouble. I make a motion, do we extend out the bid for the road to the what do we call it, the water road?
Fire road behind the nursing
Fire
home.
road. Is this the one behind, are you talking behind the nursing home?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
That we extend it out 2 or 3 weeks?
I would say 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. I'll make that motion.
Madam Chair, I have a procedural question.
yes,
Oh, I guess I can second for discussion.
okay. You had a comment?
I don't, Bob, I don't have the RFP in front of me. In the language, after the bid deadline, does it say the commissioners will open at the next meeting or may? I can't remember how this one was worded.
Bear with me a second.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that makes a difference.
I don't see any language that says either.
My comment would be, these people followed the instructions correctly.
Yes.
Bob, how many people did you solicit and were these people one of them?
We solicited 4 people, and these people were one of the ones that we solicited, yes.
The bid we got,
Yes,
and the person you talked to yesterday?
was also one of the ones that we solicited.
So they were given the same opportunity with the same,
Yes.
with the same knowledge.
May I?
Terry?
Yes.
I personally don't think we should penalize the person who followed directions and got his bid in on time. I don't think that that's right.
I found the answer to Melissa's question. The line says, all submitted proposals may be opened at the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Carroll County Commissioners.
Thank you.
David?
We have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers here. If we're not opening the bid that we got on time, so we're not penalizing anybody that now his bid's out in public and we go out for another bid, somebody knows how to bid lower. We're just not happy that we didn't get any bids, and we wanna make sure that we're going to get the best job for the lowest price. I'd go ahead and extend it 2 weeks.
May I?
Yes, Bob?
If I didn't have this gentleman call me yesterday, and he admitted to his mistake. He thought it was this Thursday, and I said, well, all I can do is ask the question. If he hadn't called me, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd be opening that single bid today. But he did call, he did ask, and I said that I would ask the commissioners.
The deadline was last Thursday, is that correct?
That's correct.
I just find that if people follow the rules, especially when, they were given the same opportunities at the beginning, you solicited equally from both of them, that the person that didn't follow the rules, David, you're the one that's always saying we have to follow the rules, we can't change them. And this was, Bob, I'm sure, was clear in his RFP that last Thursday was the date it was due. And they didn't call until yesterday, which was Tuesday. Maybe if they'd called Friday or something. Excuse me?
I think my comments, Madam Chairman, are usually tied to how we treat personnel and not how we do projects around the facility.
I just think that, it's back to our word again as commissioners. Bob's right. If we hadn't known and we opened this bid and we didn't like it, then we could have, we'd have gone out for bid and asked for more. But now saying that we're going to leave it open for 2 weeks because somebody else asked, I'm not sure that that is, it may be legally all right, but I'm not sure that it's morally right, I guess is the word. I'm having trouble with words today. Terry?
We move the question, Madam Chairman?
We don't have a motion.
You do.
Yeah, we do. He motioned,
I
I
made a
seconded.
motion.
Oh, and you seconded for discussion. All right. Would you please read the motion back?
I just have to extend the bid period for the fire road paving for 2 weeks.
Okay, so the motion is to extend the bid period for 2 weeks. Okay. Want to do roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
No.
Commissioner Bevard?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, we open the bid.
Okay, you want to open the bid, please?
Okay, this is the proposal from, I think it's CMI, Asphalt Paving Specialist. From Belmont, New Hampshire. We hereby propose to furnish the materials and perform the labor necessary for the completion of the project Mountain View Community Fire Road Paving, 93 Water Village Road, Ospey, New Hampshire. Gives the scope of the work, and it says the cost $17,545.
Okay. What we're going to do, Bob, is let you look this over and see if it meets the requirements of your RFP. And the scope of the work, etc. They came and viewed it, correct?
Yep. They did.
They also enclosed a copy
Site
of
visits
their,
site visits mandatory.
Yeah.
they also enclosed a copy of their liability insurance.
Okay. I'll pick that up this afternoon on my way out, and we'll come back next week with a recommendation.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait a minute, here,
Oh, those are,
all the copies.
those are for us, actually. but-
Yeah, I only put the original in there, I'm sorry.
David, you had a comment?
Now I have a question.
Question?
Bob, you set the bid out for 4 people, you said, is that correct?
Yes.
And they all came and looked at it?
No, only the one who bid. I didn't receive any calls from anybody else except for the one yesterday.
Were they all local?
Yeah,
I'd like to
more or less.
find out-
Lakes region.
Oh, Lake region. I would like to
Yeah.
find out, we've given the bid to the one person that bid it. I'd like to find out why the other 3, what they found out was so terrible about the job. To me, it looked like a pretty simple paving job. Why didn't they bid? Is it because Carroll County's reputation, or is it because they've got too much work, or was the date that we had to have it done, was that too soon? What was their reason?
Would the commissioners like me to make inquiries?
I would, I don't know about the ladies.
I think probably it would all be beneficial information for future bids.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a few phone calls.
All right, thank you.
I realize it's going to take a little bit of your time, but I think it would be very, very beneficial, Bob, if you do it.
Shouldn't take me too long to make a few phone calls.
I'm just, it's one thing if you came over and looked at it, and said, job's too tough, or they said, well, we don't have enough time, but not to bid at all. To me, it looks like I'm not a paving specialist, but it looks to me like a pretty easy job.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Pardon the pun, goes the road.
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything else for us today, Bob?
No, No, everything's rolling along nicely.
You have any questions for Bob? Yes.
Bob, we received this thing from Siemens on the non-contract prices. Do you have anything that you want to?
Yes.
Okay, please do.
Do I what?
Do you have anything you want to tell us about this or discuss on this, or?
No, it's pretty clear. We had a lot of discussion about it last week. So, I sent that along just for your information.
Okay.
All set?
All set. Thank you very much for your time today, Bob.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Okay, next we have added to the agenda was a discussion about the HR position. David, you wanted to put that on?
Yes.
David,
You want me to speak upon it now, Madam Chairman?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you like me to speak on it now?
Yes, please.
Okay. We're in the biggest pickle we've ever been in worldwide with this virus, and with the government changing everything day to day. And I'm certainly not a HR person by any means, and I don't think that two of you are either. I think we should move forward and appoint somebody interim HR person for the period that we're going to go without one, because this is where we're going to get into legal trouble if we screw up some way on providing something that neither of the three of us know about. And the only way I think that this could be, we could maybe eliminate some chance of us going wrong, is have an interim HR person till we hire one.
I'm digesting that at the moment. The other, I thought what you wanted to discuss was posting the position.
Excuse me, Madam Chairman. Excuse me, Madam Chairman.
Yes.
What did you say? You are suggesting it, or you're not suggesting?
I said I was digesting.
Oh, digesting, okay.
Okay, because I had thought what you were going to do was talk about posting the HR position.
Well, I also have down here non-public, so I'm just trying to find out whether we're going to do something that I think makes sense or not.
Okay, but I think that we should decide today to post the position, because it's going to be posted for 5 days on county and 2 days, I think, on Indeed. But I think we ought to start that process as soon as we can, which would be today, I would expect.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to do that?
Go ahead and make it.
Okay, I make a motion that we post the HR position in all of the county buildings according to our hiring policy, and that we also post it on Indeeds. And
I'll second.
probably ask Leslie to do that, because I'm sure she's familiar with posting in the posting account, because she's been posting them, I believe, for the nursing home. Okay, so Terry, you seconded that?
Yes.
All right, motions have made and seconded to post the HR position. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes?
Commissioner Bevon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner, Chairman,
Yes.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, David.
that's good, all well and good, and we're going in the right direction. But I brought this subject up to get an answer. Are we going to put somebody as the interim? It's going to take us 4 to 6 weeks to hire anybody. If it's that a short of time, and we could get in a lot of trouble in the meantime, are we going to appoint an interim HR person?
Do you have a suggestion?
Yes, but I'm waiting for non-public for that because
Okay.
I don't want
I don't know if it has to be, excuse me.
Dave,
Tara? But with discussing the problems with the HR in the nursing home, she assured us that she would be capable of handling this for the interim until we hired someone. So I don't, I guess we should wait for that for non-public, but.
I do think that our biggest HR activity, our greatest HR activity is in the nursing home, and I believe the person there is very capable of handling anything that comes up there. But you're talking about the general complex, is that right, David?
yes.
Okay, so probably,
Yeah.
because I think you want to discuss people, I think we probably ought to complete that discussion in non-public, David. Like, you're muted.
That's exactly why I did it the way I did.
Okay, all right, so we'll continue that in non-public. You also had added to the agenda department head meetings?
Yes, you asked me to go to the department head meeting last Monday and tell them that there would not be any watching of by employees watching the streaming of these meetings during working hours. Well, I'm just reporting that there was no department head meeting, and so that didn't get done. And secondly, are we going to proceed with having department head meetings? Which is another reason why we need a HR person if we are going to go that way.
You know, I think I have found out there's a history behind this, and I'm not exactly sure. What I've been told is more gossip and rumor than truth, so I don't know. But I do think that, I do know that at one time they were having they were having department head meetings once a month. And then it was changed to once a week. And they changed the day from Thursday to Monday, because we had attended one on Thursday. And then we attended one on Monday. And then the next week I came for it, and it had been talked about being canceled, but we had it anyway, and I ran it kind of with the Zoom thing. And then the next week, I don't know what happened. I think they had one, but I wasn't able to attend. And I think Melissa ran it with the Zoom. Am I right about that?
Yes.
And then the next week it was canceled. So I'm not sure who
So
was,
what point, Madam Chairman?
well, I'm not sure who was running the department head meetings. That's what I'm saying. Whether that was
Bobby was.
Well, she didn't run the one I was running, she didn't run the one Melissa was running.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Terry?
It seems to me, from everything I've heard from the department heads, that Monday was not, and having it every week was kind of an overkill. That, you know, their once a month meetings were going fine. I think it was suggested to meet every week because of what was going on with the COVID. But it took a lot of time out of the department heads for what they were doing and staffing wise, and I think that the once a month would suffice. If there's anything that has to be brought up, we can do it on a month, you know, at another time, but I think that once a month is fine. You, David?
I agree, I think, every week is overkill.
Yeah.
And I think we should go back to once a month, and if we find that's not enough, then we can have it every 2 weeks.
Well,
Until it settles in and we find out which really works best. But I think once a week, or 4 times a month is overkill.
Yeah.
And if there is an emergency, if something comes up where the department heads have to, you know, communicate, Melissa can set up a Zoom meeting in 10 minutes. You know, so, yeah, I'm inclined to agree that once a month should be more than sufficient. You know, with the caveat that if there is a problem, we have it sooner.
So Madam Chair, should we keep it as the first Thursday of the month? Because that was the,
Yeah, the first Thursday seemed to be quite well at like 2 o'clock or something. Do you think at least one commissioner should attend for the first 20 minutes of each meeting, or 10 minutes, or?
May I?
Yes, Terry.
I think that one commissioner or all 3 commissioners, whatever we want, at this point in time, since we are their supervisors for the moment, that we should be at the meeting for the full time. Or at least one should be.
David?
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Well, Terry, as you remember, we had this discussion, and if we post it as a meeting, then it's open to the public, and I don't really think that I want the public coming in and listening to the nitty
No,
gritty
you're right.
of the department heads. It's not trying to prevent the public from finding out what's
Right.
going on, but you have a board of directors meeting in a corporation, you don't invite the public in to find out the Coke bottle pop's don't fit, or
That's true.
whatever it is, and I think we're opening ourselves up. I would go with what we had going, maybe rotate, or.
Rotate, I think that's perfect.
But one commissioner,
Yep.
go for the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep.
I agree, I
Yeah.
agree. I think,
That
you know, one of us representing all of us is sufficient. Okay, so
might I ask which one would like to attend next Thursday's department head meeting?
well, David,
I'll go because we've got some unfinished business.
Okay.
okay, so,
Okay. I'll set that up with the department heads and Leslie and.
yeah, if you just send them a notice.
And that's Thursday?
Yep, May 7th is the first Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And I believe it was 2 o'clock, which was a strange time, but I think that's what it was. But I'm not 100% sure. You might check on that if you would.
Yeah, I'll check the calendar, see when the April was. Yep.
And David will attend. And,
All right.
And I would imagine, Madam Chairman, I'll go with the same message.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, that takes care of that. Anything else about the department head meetings, Terry? Oh, not me. David, you added also assisted living?
Yes. Madam Chairman, is Howie, Howie, are you here?
I did not see him on here.
He
Oh,
is
yes, he
here.
is.
He's here.
Yes, he is, he's here.
Yeah, I do.
Howie, Madam Chairman, may I direct my comments to Howie?
Yes, you may. Please.
Howie, I'm quite disturbed with this, survey that has been done for assisted living. You heard me complain last week or the week before that they didn't want to put one in North Conway because it was going to compete against, Memorial Hospital place that they're thinking about building. But they never mentioned Taylor House, Taylor Place, or the one that Huggins Hospital that they just sold, to, part ownership to Taylor. Today I pick up the Conway Daily Sun, and the planning board is looking at an assisted living on
Pine Hill.
the road up to the high school. 55 single homes, a medical center. How much investigation did she do if this was out in the public and she didn't even mention it?
What I don't know at this point, and she's planning on coming back to explain it next week, is whether I know they knew about it because I told them, whether it was oversight and that it was omitted, or whether there was some reason. But you're right, it should have been part of the report.
I think the more I look at this thing, I really wonder how much effort she put into it, because there's too many important parts are missing. You know, here we are worrying about having to, should we build two facilities, one down here and one out there, and what's his name? Not Kendall,
Taylor?
Kenneth. Kenneth is thinking about building this gigantic place. 55 assisted living separate homes, and she doesn't know anything about it? Come on.
She's not here.
And that one I didn't know about. I knew Merriman was planning on adding on. If they moved Merriman House, they were planning on adding.
Right, well, this was all over, there's a great picture of the markup in the Conway Daily Sun today. Apparently they've gone before the planning board or somebody and done something because it's all drawn up there. I mean, did they send somebody into Conway and start asking questions? Or did they just sit up there and wherever she's from and Jefferson and say, well, this looks like what we should do? I'm not happy about it. I am not happy about it.
Well, she will be in next week, so we can ask her directly, and I'll prep her ahead of time so that she'll have a response.
Probably better on the night that I don't come.
Oh, no, it's better that she hear directly.
And
To me, it bothers me.
I'm kind of curious as to why she divided the county up into the three parts she divided them into. It just doesn't make sense to me, either population or area-wise. That's my comment. But David, did you have anything else for Howie?
No, that was that subject.
Okay. And then, David, your last one was the insurance.
Yes. As you know, I don't know whether you got a call, but from the sound of it, the salesman called me, and then the head principal called me, and he said he'd called both of you people and hadn't got an answer. So he was started in on me, and I said, no, this is a board of three. You got to come in. I think that we have an obligation, if all we did was sign a piece of paper according to Kathy, and I wanted to make sure that I got it right, that we were freezing in the maximum that we would pay. We did commit to doing it, but we committed to, if we did do it, that would be the maximum. I guess Bonnie has put a lot of time in on this, apparently, and I think we owe it to the taxpayers. If it's gonna save us $300,000, as these two salesmen told us, $300,000 would increase benefits and be a better program, then we owe it to the employees to listen to.
Terry?
Yeah, I spoke to them yesterday, David.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and he told me they were sending all the information. I saw we got something, but it doesn't look like. And I was a little upset about saying that we had signed a letter of intent. But I pulled last year's contract and we only paid, what did I say, 5.93 last year. That was last year's contract. So it has jumped up to 9.93 for this year?
93, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, Terry, I think last year Ken had worked in 9 or 10% in case it went up that
Right.
much. And then in June or May, we found out that
Right.
it was only going to be around 6%.
Yeah, it was 5.93. So.
But we budgeted
Right.
for worst case possibility.
Well, that's what gets me, because we budgeted for $2,930,260. And this thing that we got from USI puts the quote back at, I don't know, there's two of them. And they're both, all three of them, and they're all over $3 million. So I don't understand that. On the last to the bottom of the USI thing that we just got, it's got the annual premium total. And for the current,
Could you, Madam Chairman, could you slow down for a second and give me that figure, please? What is their total for the year?
when our budget that we just got passed for 2020, I believe it budgeted $2,930,260 for our medical insurance.
Yeah,
Now, the paper that we just got today from USI says the current is $3,145,264. The renewal, they're quoting as $3,457,589. And they're saying...
wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. You gave me last year's.
But they're wrong. See, they're wrong.
May I finish, please? You can, and then you said USI gave us a price of $3,145,260. What is the next thing you said they gave us? You said they gave us another one, a renewal. What are they renewing if they don't have the contract?
No, it's interlocal trust renewal. So what they did was,
Okay, what is their figure for renewal?
the USI is saying that our total premium is going to be $3,145,264.
That's for 2020.
Right. We
No, that's,
Okay.
we budgeted for interlock trust $2,930,260 for medical insurance.
Yep.
So that is a couple of $1,000s less than what USI is telling us is going to save us $300,000.
Madam Chair,
He told me, and he probably told Terry the same thing, they both told me, that they were not going up one penny and that our benefits would increase something with a death,
Life insurance.
insurance, life insurance in it, and something else. And, and you're telling me today you got a figure that's, roughly $200,000 more.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
what
paper,
we
that,
budgeted
that's
last year.
this paper they gave us. Didn't you get one of these?
Did you get this, David?
Yes, I sent it to him this morning.
Melissa sent it to you this morning.
Well, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
But on the back,
Don't forget, the budgeted figure for last year for our insurance, interlock and trust, that was the budget, that isn't what we spent.
Right, that's
What
only
did
the
we
county
spend?
portion.
Right, and that, if I may, that 3,145,264, that's our current with Interlocal. And then if we renew with the same company, it's 3,457,589. And
where did they get those numbers?
I don't know.
I can.
Terry, I don't understand. Amanda just said twice, the figure that we got from USI was 3,145,264.
Correct.
Now you're saying that was interlock and trust. Which is it?
It's both. They're saying, according to this, they're giving us the 3,145,264 is our current, what we're, for 2019. If we stay with for Interlocal. What is
Okay.
it?
Interlocal.
Interlocal. And if we stay with them, it's going to go up to 3,457,589.
But that's not
Okay, wait a
correct.
minute. 3
I know.
million for what?
457,589.
Yep.
And they're saying if we go with this company, USI, they will keep it at 3,145,264. That's what's confusing, because both, and I don't know where they got these figures. He told me he had a copy of our contract, and that's where they got these, so I don't know.
Madam Chair, I
Melissa?
think I can answer that question.
Okay.
In the budget, in the expenditure budget, that line item 410212, medical insurance, is only what the county pays. That doesn't take into consideration the employee portion, which this sheet from USI does.
Okay.
So that's your difference.
Wait a minute, where does it say it takes the employees in?
That's the total premium combined with the employee deductions and the county's portion on this sheet that's provided by USI. In our county budget, we've been told through the years that this only takes into consideration the county portion.
The county's portion. Gotcha. That makes sense.
80%.
So
That
that's
makes
why,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
either the 80 or the 70, depending on what plan they're on.
Okay.
So that's the difference,
That makes sense.
why it's budgeted less than that chart.
I'll check that, but I don't think 80%.
80% of the 3.1, is it 2.9? Probably not.
Probably.
Is it close?
I don't know, that's what I'm
I
gonna.
can't do the math as fast as you can.
Well, I'm gonna do it on the calculator because,
Take the brief.
um,
And I also don't know.
Melissa,
Yes, Commissioner Babson?
thank you. What did we budget last year for medical expenses? Budget, not spent.
I can get that for you, 1 second.
That's not 80%.
no, it's not, it's 2.7 would be 80%. So the numbers are not correct, that's my argument here. Because even if you take the 3, 4, 5, 7 and do 80%, it's not 2.9. If you do the other one, what we did, 8145, 264. And that's 25, so that's neither one of those. So I don't know where they got these numbers.
Well, would it depend on what,
Is that my phone or somebody else?
No, that's mine, because I had to turn on my calculator. I'll turn it back off. It's messages I've gotten shut down.
Sorry, I'm trying to answer his question.
I just think that's, I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, this is for 147 employees and it's over $3 million.
It's under special fees.
Yeah. Just can't, I need my computer.
If you
What did
look in
he
it,
ask
you'll
for?
find under special fees, I think.
I'm looking for the budget on our website. I can't think at the moment. He asked me what amount was budgeted last year
Or spent.
or spent. I'm just having a brain cramp.
No, I asked what was budgeted. You gave me what was
There
spent.
you go, approved
You have the
budgets.
contract for last year. What was that?
Oh,
What was the amount?
What was spent in 2019?
Terry has last year's.
2,932,60.
yeah.
That's what you told me.
It's under
Here, I
special
have last
fees.
year's, but I don't know. Yeah, this is last year's.
So I can get my spreadsheet from downstairs because that's when medical insurance was in all the department budgets and now
Yeah.
they're consolidated. So I have to go get my worksheet.
I think last year's contract was for $2,930,260.
I don't know if it has a,
You said, Madam Chairman, that's the third time you said that's not what you said. You said that was what was spent.
That was the county portion.
I'm looking for a total.
That's probably the county portion of what was spent last year. You said that's what was spent. I don't know about the county portion, but it makes sense that it's only 80% of the total.
That's what's budgeted for 2020. That's what's in today's budget.
Oh,
And the question was, is that 80% or is that 100%? And it's not 80% of any of these numbers that the USI gave us. Now, the fact that suddenly we don't hear or we don't see any of these numbers until last Friday, we don't even know that this USI exists. We didn't even know they were being talked to. And now suddenly they appear on Friday and we get this stuff this week. At the very least, we should have more time to digest and find out what these contracts really are talking about, what numbers he's talking about. Because last year, it was in 3 different departments. It was in the jail, it was in the commissioners, and it was in the nursing home. This year, it's all in special fees and services.
Which I don't like, but
So, it's, I was thinking that maybe they had the wrong numbers someplace. They got them. And I don't know who they got them from. That's the other problem. But I don't see this big savings this USI is claiming to give us. On this sheet that we got today, all they're saying is there's not going to be any increase over last year, but that's not even last year's number, I don't believe.
it makes sense that on our budget, it's just our portion, not the employees, but where would that be? That should be somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't show on,
That
it
might be
never
a-
has.
That might be a Kathy question.
What are you asking, Terry, where is the 20% that the employee pays?
Right.
I don't think it shows in our budget.
But it has to come in
Which
as
is a
a,
good point.
it would have to come in as a revenue somewhere, because if we're writing one check to them for the total amount, where does that money come in from the employee?
That's a good point. We keep that money out of their paycheck,
Right, so where does
so
that,
I don't think I guess that would be considered revenue, wouldn't it? Where else would you put it?
Yeah, don't know.
You, if I may?
Yes, Joe?
You have to have a debit and credit for it. You're collecting it out of the employee's paycheck, their portion. In reality, putting it in, I'll call it a pot, and when you pay the medical bill, the county pays its portion, and the employee's portion gets added to that and paid all at once. That's the way I would understand it.
Right.
The problem is, I don't see any place where that
Comes in.
employee's portion is treated as a revenue on the revenue side, and I don't see it on the expense side.
Not only that, someplace in here has got to be the $1,000 deductible that we pay for the employees.
Yeah, I think, if I may, Madam Chair, I think
It
that's,
is in there.
yeah, I think that's covered under,
That's in the medical insurance line.
yeah, I think it's under the medical insurance line. If you were able to drop down, you'd see what those numbers consist of, totaling that 2,930,000, 2,930,000 plus.
Right, and I don't think those are what's included in the 3.3 million figures here they're talking about. So I don't know, but I'll tell you, until somebody can explain these numbers and make them balance, I'm just happy with where we're at and the company we're dealing with, that we've already agreed to deal with.
Well, I think we have
I'm
time.
not. I think we should at least listen to these two characters and see what they have to say. And ask them where they got their figures. Doesn't cost us anything to have them talk to us. And if they're on the money, they could save us $300,000 if it's a better program.
Well, I don't see $300,000 in these figures anywhere, but
Well, if that's what Interlochen Trust is gonna go up, and they're gonna hold the price from last year, this USI, and Interlochen Trust is going up 300,000, we're saving $300,000. That's an easy one to figure out.
But what if Interlochen Trust is actually going to charge us $2,930,260? Then this one that they're going to quote us is actually more, I believe.
That's what I have down here, which you've changed, you told me originally $2,930,000 was what we spent last year.
No,
Now
that,
you're saying that's what we budgeted.
for 2020,
2020.
yes.
Okay, so I made that change. That's budgeted for 2020.
Do we know what we actually spent last year? You don't have that.
I don't have it.
No, that's what Melissa went downstairs, because it was in Freedom, she went down to get it, Terry.
No.
And all I got was the budget.
Because I'm wondering if when Ken put those figures in, or Kathy, they went on the 5.9 or the 6%, which what they thought it was going to be.
That includes the 5.93% increase. The two, I'm positive
Okay.
about the 2.9.
9.
Now, whether that's includes, that's what I don't understand, is these two numbers. If they include, which one includes the employee's money and which one doesn't include the employee's money.
What we're missing right now is how much we budgeted in 2019, how much we budgeted, how much we spent, because last year it was a figure that we put in something like 10 or 11% increase, and it came in around 6%. So we've got to find out what we actually spent. The question about, it has to be the 80% that we paid, not the 100%.
Okay,
And
may
so this year, in 220, we know what we budgeted, which was 220. So that's easy enough to figure out.
So I would suggest that maybe we wait till next week to further discuss this. Now, you would like to have these salesmen come in and talk to you next week? Or come on Zoom, or what?
I'd like to have one of them come in and just give us a presentation so we can ask some questions. Where'd they get their numbers?
I expect that it will have to be on Zoom. And
Ben?
I expect it would have to be on Zoom. They won't physically come to the building, I don't
Oh.
think.
Oh, okay. I thought you said June.
No,
Zoom, okay.
Zoom. I can't talk right with this mask on. It's just, I don't know. But if we could see about setting up a Zoom meeting with USI, and I think we probably ought to have Al, what's his name? What's Al's last name there, the other man? From Interlocal Trust also come in.
Well, have him, I don't think it would do us any good to have them both at the same time, but
Well, no.
have one and then
Yes.
it's a public meeting, so they can both listen to each other. If they want to do that.
I agree. Now, when I had talked to Interlocal Trust and I talked to an associate, and I told them, I said, they said, oh, well, it's all based on the past 12 months, et cetera, et cetera. I said, no, our past 12 months were very good. We did not have a lot of people that were sick or out on FMLA or those things. I said, this really should only be about a third of this. And she started to get all, and she said, well, maybe you should talk to my supervisor. And that's the man that owns the company, right? Al somebody. And he did call me yesterday and left a message, but when I called back, there was no answer. And I called this morning and there was no answer, and I left a message that I was trying to contact him to talk to him. So I would expect if we can wait a week to act on this, that we can have those other two people come. I will be able to finally stop phone tag with this man and get him and see if he can come also. We'll just set different times, maybe an hour apart. Does that sound all right, Terry? Can you handle two insurance salesmen an hour apart, David?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we have to, because we want to change. We only have 45 days that we can change or get out of interlock. We have 45 days before it starts July 1st, so I think that's sometime in the middle of May.
Okay, yes.
I was going to bring it up during my coordinator report, but I'm glad you're talking about the insurance now. I've been communicating a lot with Leslie, and there are some considerations to take in. First of all, the representative from USI did offer that he could join a meeting by Zoom today or as soon as it's convenient to the commissioners. Second to consider is that open enrollment the open enrollment period begins on May 1 and has to be completed by the end of May. So the insurance would have to be in place, and if there was a change, that would take extra work to, convert everyone to a new plan. It is feasible with a few people assisting with that, just as a consideration. But yesterday, I had the thought and actually reached out to one of the union representatives just to get a feel for what that process looks like. And it was explained to me that in order to change insurance, you'd have to have that change ratified by the union membership prior to the new policy taking effect as the most efficient method, and it's a matter of process. I just wanted to keep you aware of that it would involve having 3 unions ratify any changes. The contracts do have language that say, the specific plan or something substantially comparable or something of that nature in each of the contracts. I looked those up. So if it would be a benefit to the employees, it would probably be an easy sell, or as long as there wasn't a major shift in the policy. But there is a process to get the union to ratify a change.
That would be the sheriff's union, the House of Corrections union, and the nursing home union. David?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Melissa, which union, which boss or which union did you talk to? The sheriff's?
The nursing home.
The nursing home?
I went with that one because it's the biggest employer, has the most employees under their contract.
Did you actually look up the contract and the wording to see what it says?
I did. Yes.
And doesn't it say something like the sheriff's comparable, or, I don't remember in the sheriff's, it's saying that we needed the union's okay to switch it. All it said is it had to be comparable. And,
Well, I think each of the union contracts name a specific company health plan, and then there's a comma, and it says, or something comparable or of that nature. So the nursing home's contract actually says interlocal trust, but there's a clause that it has to be something comparable. And it was explained to me that over the course of, a 2 or 3 year union contract, it would be expected that elected officials would do, it's in the best interest to always be on the lookout for better pricing or on insurance. So there's like a comma in there that allows it to be changed with union ratification.
And if I may,
okay, and did you find out what we spent last year for medical? That's what you went downstairs for.
I did go downstairs, and I have to have a few minutes to do that further because the medical insurance was spread out over the different departments, and I'd have to do some math. If I had 10 minutes, I could get that for you.
Okay.
2019.
I have the budgeted amounts, but I have the 2018 actual, but I don't have the 2019 actual added up yet.
It's not on the website.
No. Because it's spread out. It is, but it's spread out.
So David, I think what we ought to do is just ask them both to come in next week. That'll give us 7 days to do the research and to come up with the numbers that we're looking at, and I'm sure that either one of them would accept a signed contract next Wednesday.
Okay, but let's not forget we got Rosie coming in on her assisted living chat with us. That's going to take some time too.
Well, I was going to put her between the 2 salesmen.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. Excellent.
if I may.
Yes, Terry?
When I talked to him yesterday, he said it should be a very easy transition. They might even be able to work a deal with Interloop that they can just switch people over automatically. They don't, there doesn't have to be much paperwork at all. They'll just take over the plan that they have and put them exactly on what they have. And they can do it all online. So I don't, I don't know what else would be entailed, so I think it's best that they do come in and just tell us. Yeah,
Well, we want to make sure we get absolute
right,
numbers that we can count on, which we can't today.
exactly, and I would also like to know, yes, they're gonna do it at that price this year, but will they,
Are you gonna?
what are they gonna do
it
next year? If-
You're right.
So, okay,
Thank you.
so we're gonna wait till next week?
Okay,
I get all that information together for you and also invite both to a Zoom?
Yep.
And give them a scheduled time?
Yep.
Okay,
right, and put Rosie in between them.
okay,
That one at 9:15 and the other, whatever.
okay.
And start them early enough so that way we'll be able to make a decision before we leave next week, hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully numbers make more sense.
Okay.
All right, David, that was all that you added to the agenda, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And Terry, you didn't add anything, so that brings us all the way down to the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Treasurer's report. We spent half a day yesterday, Terry and I did, with the finance person, the finance director in the office, to understand some of the issues that they were dealing with, and I'm sure that you'll probably hear some more about that in the future. It's certainly apparent that there's a lot going on, but I think there needs to be some additional help there of
Can
some
you
sort.
speak up, please, Joe?
Yes, I'm sorry. It seems like there's definitely a lot of things going on, interruptions and whatnot. So I'm thinking maybe we need to have some sort of additional help in that office. It is clear, at least to me to some degree, things are being moved out to one of the other persons in the office, and that's a good thing. So, but on a different note, I wanted to bring up something else, and that is the consultant that we had been working with. It seems that this COVID-19 virus has really caused the problem for that firm, and obviously they're not doing any traveling or whatnot, and I did have some conversations about a week or two ago with the individual who's been helping us. He was going to follow up with some things, and as of yesterday that hadn't happened, so I'm thinking maybe we need to stop that process at this point, because I don't think it's working. I just wanted the commissioners to think about that and hopefully make a decision.
Anything else?
That's about it.
Hale's location?
Yes.
Chairman,
Yes, David?
may I ask Joe a question?
Yes.
Thank you. Joe, what exactly has hiring this gentleman done for us?
He's provided a report which I've forwarded to the commissioners a couple of times, and I think he's sort of started to get things somewhat organized, if you will. But if I had to say, I'd say probably the process is taking a lot longer than I had anticipated, and now this COVID-19 thing has really gummed up the works, at least from, I believe, their perspective. And so at this point, I don't think it's doing anything for us. That's not to say that we may not want to recommend somebody else coming too at some point, but at this point, I can't see any reason why the commissioners might want to continue that one.
Well, they're not coming, so it's
Right, well,
not continuing anyways.
But I think what we need to do is do a formal notice to them. Right, the commissioners anyway.
Well, I don't know, I think if this ever gets done, we might want him, but, they're talking about opening up, some of the activities in New Hampshire next week, I thought, as I understood.
If I may, Madam Chair, what I'm hearing from the person who was doing this is that he's dealing with a substantial amount of nonprofits during this COVID-19 issue, which involves a whole host of, I can't think of the term I want to use, the PPL loans and other stuff for the nonprofits. And so sounds like they're buried pretty deep with this stuff. I will say the last...
Basically, we've moved to the end of the list.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and at the same time, you know, the last email I got from an individual was sent at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was going to send an email and make some contacts with the finance office, and that hasn't happened. So, you know, I sense that they're right out straight. Timing's an issue for them, so let's not belabor this issue. Maybe we just stop the process for now, and if things change, we can start it up again.
What do you think about sending an email to them saying, hey, you know, would it be in everybody's best interest to terminate our relationship now? Or is this something that you think will improve in 3 weeks? Or, you know, and see what his input is, because he may be just wanting to get out from under it also. And
I just think there needs to be some action on it, that's all.
I agree. If I may, I just think that we're not getting what we expected to get from them, and that's not his fault or our fault, or, but it certainly hasn't proved out to what I expected, and I don't think he's going to be able to make much progress even if he comes back, in my personal opinion.
I agree with you. I agree, Terry.
Because things aren't going to change unless we change them, so that's how I feel.
okay, so you are pretty much in agreement with Joe that you'd like to terminate the relationship with this outfit?
We could maybe not say terminate, but maybe suspend till further notice because of the conditions or something. And what do you think, David? Oh, he's muted.
It's back.
Yeah, I muted because my phone rang and it was my daughter from Seattle who I've told 10 times Wednesday morning at commissioners meeting, and of course she calls. So anyway, go ahead. I'm all in favor of cutting the cord with this gentleman.
That's what I thought, but instead of maybe saying terminate, we could say, you know, suspend until further notice or whatever, to make it a little bit softer in case we ever want to use them again. But it's totally up to, you know, I'll go along with whatever you two want. Because I don't think we're getting what we need. Or what we wanted.
So back to my...
Well, Terry,
Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, Terry, you know, there's a lot of circumstances that have happened. When he came in here,
Right.
he sat right there and told us he wasn't the man for the job, and you two voted to have him come in. And that's all right. He came in, he wrote a nice report, but it became apparent as we went along that, to me, and talking to Kathy and with the others, that it wasn't going in the right direction. And yes, I totally agree, we make it a little softer and tell them that we're suspending the operation for whatever time until further notice, because I believe there's things that he does that could help us, but this wasn't one of them.
So I guess what we need is a motion to terminate or suspend or something.
I'll make a motion that we, suspend our affiliation with Scott, whatever his name is, until further notice or until necessary.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Madam Chair, could I just remind that you actually have your agreement is with Plodzik and Sanderson and not the individual?
right. So
Yes,
I,
it's with his company.
so I think the motion was made and seconded to suspend our relationship with the company. Period.
I use his name, it should be the company.
Yes, that's, okay. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
A roll call,
Oh, roll
Commissioner
call.
Roll
Babson?
call,
Commissioner Babson?
yes, I'm getting coffee, yes.
I'd like some too, please, thank you. Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bevard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Would you like me to write something that you can review, commissioners?
I think Joe
And
can
Joe?
probably help you with that.
If I may, Madam Chair, if you'd allow Melissa and I to do that,
That would
certainly
be
we can
good.
send it to you, commissioners first before it goes out, but
Does that work?
I think that
Works
would be
for me.
fine. Yeah.
Would you like to sign it next week, or should we?
Sure.
Okay. All right,
If you can get us a copy of it ahead of time so we can.
of course. Yep.
um, Okay, anything else with treasurer's report?
I'll set with treasurers.
Hales?
Hales. First thing under Hales is, and I wanted, Commissioner Babson's getting the coffee, but the question about the forms that came from Department of Education. Denise called the office, talked to the individual who wrote the letter, and let them know that the only student we have there is the one that's going to Freiburg Academy, and as such, didn't know what to do with it. And they were glad to hear that, the information, and said we didn't need to do anything, which is what we had thought, but we wanted to confirm it, so that's been taken care of.
So what are we doing with the money?
Money has not come. So they were asking about which school district for this stuff, and so it wasn't a check associated with it.
No,
Now, had we,
but the Department of Education, they are going to send a check. Will
Right.
they send it
No,
to?
no,
So then
we do
after
nothing.
grade school kids at Conway?
There's no effect on it.
Okay,
Is this about the call I made?
Yes.
Department of Education?
Yes, Commissioner Babson, and Denise, based on the emails back and forth, as you recall, I had Denise call that gentleman, and she let him know that the student we had was not in the Conway or the school district in New Hampshire, and he said, that's fine, we don't need to do anything, and they appreciated the update on the information.
aren't the grade school kids,
Okay,
aren't the grade school kids going to Conway, David?
David's got his hand up.
I said, David, yes.
the eighth grade and less will go to Conway, but there's two youngsters up there that are coming. Madam Chairman, may I make a suggestion that either Joe or I work on this problem, but not both? Does it do us any good to have Joe or somebody working with him calling the Department of Education, me calling the Department of Education and saying, why haven't you gotten back to us? Oh, I got back to Hale's location. I don't know about it. I'm either stepping aside or going to do it. You two tell me what you want to do.
Madam Chair?
Joe? Yes.
It's been going on 6 months now with letters that we didn't need to answer. If we got the problem stuff all straightened out, we stirred it up again.
Commissioner Babson, can you hear me, sir?
I certainly can.
Good. You recall the email sent back and forth that said, when Denise sent that form to you, your question was, what do we do with this? I would have thought at that point you would have called. Instead, you bounced it back to us, so that's why I had Denise call. At this point, I won't do any more with it.
Well, if you were at the meeting, Joe, it was explained that it came in to, it was what school district in the county was going to get the money. I offered to, since I've been working on it, to call up the Department of Education. I did that. I talked to Caitlin Davis for some length. I'm still waiting for a call back from her. I haven't got any emails from anybody except the one that says, what do we do with the money?
You did not get any emails from Denise on this matter?
Yeah, the one, no, I don't believe so.
Hold on a moment,
I
please.
tried to look, but I don't think I did. Check and see.
Yeah, hold on, please.
There was a discussion in one of our meetings about it.
Yeah, the first email went to you on April 24th. And it says,
What do we want to do with it?
it says, "Hi David, when Denise told me about this, I said to send it to you since it was a school issue. I believe there's a person's name and phone number on the paperwork. If you want, I will ask Denise to call them to ask your question. Please let me know, Joe." And the response I got back was,
And
yes, there was, Joe.
I wrote back to you that the gentleman that you were wondering who it was the Commissioner of Education at the department, and I called them.
Dave, I'm looking at the emails right now, Commissioner Babson, and your response to that statement that I sent you was, yes, there was, Joe. And that's it, nothing else. So at that point, I gave it to Denise and said, give him a call.
Oh, okay. Well, that was, I should have been more explicit.
That's okay, you know,
We
it's
talked about it last week. We talked about it last week, that I was waiting for a call back from Miss Davis, and
Yeah.
nothing was said.
yeah. Well, in any event, we're not trying to step on the superintendent's toes at all. We were just trying to follow up, but at this point, we won't touch it, and I think it's pretty well taken care of, and you're working on it, and we'll leave it be.
I have a
Okay,
question.
thank you, Joe, I'll do that, and I will keep you posted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So David, you're gonna take care of it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I haven't heard back from this Caitlin Davis, who is the lady that's in charge of where kids go to school and get paid. So I will call her again this week and find out what we're supposed to do. My contention is we apply it towards, if we can, towards the Hales location student that's going to Freiburg Academy, which is what I said last week. Do
Okay.
you two agree with that?
Yes.
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 Yeah. All right.
So, under Hale's location, Madam Chair?
Yes.
As we were talking, I just received an email from Denise at Hales, and she advises me that she spoke with Michelle at DRA in regards to the signed minutes of the delegation meeting approving the change in the budget for Hales location, and that they approved that budget. And they really, according to this, Michelle at DRA needs those minutes ASAP. And I've already talked to Lino about it. We're going to get them after this meeting next week. And at the same time, she's got a copy of the MS 636 that needs to be signed by the commissioners. I've got it in my phone, but I can't print it. Maybe I can forward it to Melissa, and she can print it, and you guys can look at it and sign it.
Okay.
Joe, what is that form?
It looks like MS 636, Dave, is, hold on a moment.
God, I thought we signed that.
It's the revised proposed budget for Hales location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's where we made those changes, or where the delegation made those changes. You remember we had we had a fantastic figure in there, if you will, a large figure in there for the school for Hales location, and it turned out that we didn't need that much, and so the budget was revised. I don't remember if it was you who made the motion or the delegation, but somebody made that motion to change it, and it was approved. And so now we have to get that budget to DRA, and DRA is saying they won't take that budget until they get the signed copy of the minutes, so. Just a government,
We're waiting for the delegation to sign it?
that's correct, the
They're
minutes.
going to sign it?
The delegation to sign the minutes.
Can't we, email it or fax it to him and have him sign it, or don't they accept that?
I've already talked to the clerk of the delegation, and he says they can't sign that until the delegation approves those minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we tried to send the draft copy, and they may have accepted it previously at DRA, but I guess they won't now. They want the signed ones.
Okay.
And they're meeting a week from Friday.
They are.
Yep. And I just want to be absolutely sure. I didn't have time to check, but those delegation minutes does have a clause that says they did approve the new budget at Hales at this amount.
It does.
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
And if you want to send that
Yes.
to my email address here at county and not my other one,
Yeah,
then
that's
I
the one
can
I'm
do
sending
that
it.
today.
I
Thank
sent the
you.
other one to your address here at county also.
Okay. Yep.
Other than that, at Hales location, Denise is still working with the people at the state level on a number of things and how to do things, and working with the people also getting ready to do the tax bills. The tax rate, of course, is based on last year for the first 6 months of this year. And so that's the next big project, is getting out the tax bills. We did get an invoice from the town of Conway for elections. I can look up the exact number here. It was somewhere around $8,000. And it was to cover 3 elections, one in February and then 2 this fall. And I said to Denise,
Did we pay that? I thought we paid it.
Yeah, that was last year's we paid. So
So why did you receive another one?
that's for this year. This current year, for 2020. What I'm saying is they're billing us in advance of the election. And I'm not anxious to pay in advance of the election.
I'm with you, Joe.
So I think we'll wait until,
Pay us up.
if we pay anything, it'll be for the February one that was already done. But I think the other 2, we'll wait until that happens. At the same time, Denise brought up an interesting point. She said, we're paying the town of Conway a lot of money for those elections as Hales location. Why can't Hales do their own? And I said, well, that's something we can investigate, but if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, I'm not sure that a township, an unincorporated township can do that. That's why they go to Conway.
Yeah, there's something,
There was something, I don't remember. Do you remember, Commissioner Babson?
no, I think you're right, Joe, that there was something about a non-incorporated town because it doesn't have the selectmen of the backbone of the election and the moderator. And if they don't have a town, they don't have those, so.
Right.
I suppose if we held the election here in Ossipee, and they wanted to drive down here and vote, we probably wouldn't have to pay, but that doesn't make any sense at all, obviously.
No, but if we were able to hold the election, I'm sure we could work something out with the hotel up there at Hales location and whatever else we need to do versus the state. But again, I think there's something out there in terms of
Yeah,
a
I don't know. It's
non-incorporated
always-
town,
they've
you can't
always
do
done
that.
it at Conway, I don't know.
Joe, I'll make a motion that we pay the bill for the primary and,
In February.
and that in February, and that's it until the election is, another election is held.
Oh, I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pay Hales location's bill for the February election
Right.
only.
Madam Chair, do you have a total for that? Do we have a bill?
we don't have the bill here, because it
Oh,
was
sorry.
for everything.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Just trying to clarify the amount.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we can do that next week when we sign the check, when we authorize Joe to sign the check, right? David?
Yeah, we can. We ought to vote that we're gonna do that, though. I have a question, Madam Chairman.
Yes, David?
Did I hear Joe say it was one lump sum?
It was a total amount just for the 3 elections. It was somewhere around $8,600.
So, I
If
guess I would change my motion to pay 1/3 of the bill sent from Conway to pay for 2020 election.
If I may,
Joe?
what I would like to do is ask the town of Conway to send us a bill for the February election, and we'll pay that.
Even better, that's better. That's better, Joe.
Okay, David, you want to take your motion off the table and Terry take away your second?
I will
We'll
withdraw,
start over.
I will withdraw my motion until next week.
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay? And we'll tend to that next week. Anything else, Joe, for Hales?
That's it.
All right. Next is the commissioners' comments. Any commissioners' comments? David, any comments?
No, we did it under our business.
Okay. Terry, any commissioner comments?
No.
Updates? I have a couple. One is, last week Lisa came up and talked to us about a $500 donation from Fiddler,
Oh, that's right, we were supposed to do that.
and we were going to decide this week. And I think last week I kind of had the impression that we thought the nursing home would be a good source, a good point to donate it. Any other additions or thoughts, or? Yes, David?
Fill me in, Madam Chairman. I remember she came up, was it to any nonprofit or any other?
County.
Who are they looking to give the money to? Somebody that's worked on the virus thing, or?
No, it was just a nonprofit that benefited the county.
Yeah, I didn't bring that letter.
The charity of her choice.
Yes, David?
I would suggest that, why don't we put it in the doobie fund? Get some interest, and very little interest, actually, but at least it's there so that we know that if we need something for the residents over at the nursing home, we've got money.
Joe?
Just be aware that the Doobie Fund is in an investment right now. I believe that investment's a pretty good earning certificate of deposit, and I'm not sure we can add to the balance on that certificate of deposit, so that's something we'd have to check on.
And it's really not a
Madam
non.
Chairman?
Yes, David?
Joe, do we have every single penny from the doobie fund in a, don't we have a bank account for the leftover money if it takes a $15,000 CD and we have $15,050? What do? Stick it in someone's pocket and let them carry it around for the life of the CD? Or do we have a bank account that we put it in, and why can't we take the money from Fiddler and put it in that account?
If I may, Madam Chair?
Yes, Joe.
Yep. It's in a CD, a certificate of deposit, and the interest that certificate of deposit earns is being compounded. So the interest that it earns, the $50, if you will, doesn't come out and go into a separate bank account. It stays with the certificate, so you get a higher yield on it. We do have the right to withdraw the interest at any time. Whatever.
Okay, but did we invest, did we put all the money in the doobie fund into a CD?
That was correct, because there was no use for it. That's where it's been for, before I came here. It was in a CD, and when it came due, Kathy and I talked about it. she found a good rate for it, and we put the whole thing back in again.
Well, okay, I thought we probably had, you know, maybe took one for 10,000 and had $1,000 left over that we put in a bank account.
Yeah.
But if there's no bank account, the interest goes back into the CD, I know that.
Right. So to answer your initial question, I don't know if we can add to that CD or not. That's a question I'll have to find out, and I'll ask Kathy about it.
Howie, are you there?
Oh, we-
Howie?
He's muted.
He's muted himself, but I didn't know if he was present, so we could ask what else. They have other funds over there. They're always raising money for different things over there. David?
I don't know that that's accurate, Madam Chairman. What other funds are there over there besides the doobie fund?
Well,
That's the problem.
that's what
We give it to the,
It's Friends of Mountain View.
the Friends of Mountain View often will, they had a raffles. They were selling corn games. We were over there and we talked to one young woman who was donating candles to go into a raffle. So I don't know what they do with the money, but I think they distribute it to things for the people at Mountain View. That's why I was asking Howie, because he could tell us more.
it would seem to me that you're probably right, that they have penny sales and everything over there. They must put the money somewhere, and it isn't into the doobie fund. So they must have some kind of house account over there that they take petty cash and put it in. And that's where we ought to put the money in, I think.
Right, and then they spend it. The doobie fund money has not been spent that I know of since I got here.
No?
So I think this $500 is meant to go where it's going to be spent and be beneficial now, not in the future.
Yeah.
So, I suppose we could probably donate it to the Friends of Mountain View or whatever their title
Oh,
is.
that's what you're right, that's what the other account is, Amanda. Friends of Mountain View.
So is there any
I'll
other?
make a motion that we put the money in from Fiddler into the Friends of Mountain View residence account.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Were there any other thoughts other than that one? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes,
Commissioner McCarthy?
Yes?
Commissioner Bevon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Would you like a report from me?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to look. I thought I had something else besides leases
Okay.
that was on the thing here. But my brain is, I wrote it down too, and I don't. Guess not. All right, next is the executive coordinator report, which I'm sorry,
That's okay. Thank you. A lot of what I planned to talk about during this time has already been discussed, including the health insurance. I did want to, and the Fiddler donation, so thank you. I wanted to bring forward that last week you approved putting out the fiber optic RFP. And the director of maintenance asked me to hold off on putting that out because it requires a mandatory site visit in the annex. And during this time of COVID-19, it wouldn't be appropriate to bring people into the annex. So we're holding off on that for now. As requested last week, there was last week there was a lot of business done during the commissioners' meeting, and so RFPs have been put out, advertisements are published. I sent out the emails to the department heads requesting their suggestions regarding the future use of the annex. I also sent that to the delegation. I notified the department heads that the commissioners support the treasurer and registrar creating a system of bank reconciliation reporting monthly. And I also asked the department heads to start submitting reports to you weekly regarding who is working remotely in their departments and what they're doing. I have a request from an employee in the business office for a couple of days off. Because the commissioners are the administrators, I just asked that you would approve 2 days off for an employee, perhaps without mentioning their name.
Non-public.
And I suppose we could do that in non-public. And I think that's all I have at this moment. I do have a couple of things for non-public as well. Thank you.
All right, and now because of Melissa, she joggled my brain. As I said, I had spoken with Chairman Damaris from the delegation yesterday, and she thought that, fixing the annex up and moving forward was a good idea, and that she would like to know if we would like to have a committee to investigate possible future uses, and she thought that there would be members of the delegation that might like to be on that committee. So I told her we would discuss her offer today. Because we didn't get many suggestions from anybody, the department heads or anything. All we had were the ones that we had come up with. So she wanted to know, similar to what we formed, remember the investigative committee we formed for the archivals down in Registry of Deeds. That's the type of thing she was interested in knowing we would be interested in. Have any thoughts or comments about that?
Commissioner Patterson has his hand up.
David?
Yeah, the commissioners have in the past have been the ones involved with all of the proposed uses. We have to manage the budget, so I think that if we have a committee, perhaps we have 7 members or 5 members, we have 2 from the delegation and 3 from the commissioners. It's our responsibility, but we should let the delegation know ahead of time what we're thinking of, and maybe cut through the chase here to get something done.
It might help to get some money in the budget to move forward with any plans we develop. If it were kind of a joint effort, because it seems like that's where our plans have always gone astray, was with the delegation.
Oh, no question about that. Except for the cooking school, that was just an unfortunate set of circumstances. But, the rest of them, yeah, the delegation always, under the former chairman, always wanted the leasee to pay for all the repairs before they moved in. Who was going to do that? We got to get around that somehow.
Right.
First.
I was also thinking that maybe we should have 1 or 2 community members be involved in it, because there's a lot of space over there. We know that we're going to need a lot of it for office space for us, but there'll still be, I think, extra space, or there could be, You were talking about transitional housing. So I don't know if there's any people in the community that we might want to involve, or if we'd like to keep it. After all, it is going to be the community's money that's going to pay to upgrade it. That was my thinking. Terry?
My personal opinion is the more people you have involved, the less is gonna get done. I'm sorry, but, you know. I think that there might be a point in time when you want to involve the community, when we put 2 or 3 proposals out there, and they, you know, it would have to be a public meeting, but I see that as way down the road. So, that's my personal opinion. I think it would be fine for the commissioners and a couple of delegation people or whatever to start it, to get it going, and then.
5 people. 5 people, 2 delegation members, 3 commissioners, and that's the same process rolling.
Okay, so would it be okay if I were to contact the chairman and ask her to find 2 delegation members or appoint 2 delegation members, and maybe she could do that at their next meeting? Yeah. Is that all right to do? I don't want to go and say anything without the approval of the whole board.
Is that all right with me?
Dave, is that all right with you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I will do that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Melissa, for jogging my memory.
You're welcome.
I think that is it. Do we have any media questions? Yes, sir.
It's
State
more
your name and who you represent, please, because we got.
at Comeau, GovernmentOversite.com. It's also really a public comment. Can I do that now?
Sure.
Okay. You're now talking about expanding government into another building while people can't pay their taxes. There's possibly a upcoming economic collapse, and I don't, in my opinion, this should not be the discussion now to gather people together to see how we can expand and put more government in another building. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Is there any other?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, David.
I know this isn't the way we operate, but I certainly would like to respond to Representative Comeau's comment, if I could.
I don't think he asked any questions.
Commissioner Batson,
Nobody told us what we should be doing,
Well, that's his,
or shouldn't be doing.
well, I
I
thought,
don't care, I can talk to them personally, I disagree with them, and I'd like to give some reasons why I disagree with them.
well, you know,
And he is, by the way, the best state representative representing me in Ossipee. Not a war.
It was just his public comment. I don't think he wanted a dissertation, because he knows that I don't agree with him either, but,
Okay, that's fine. We'll corner him someplace else.
I'm sure he does. Is there any other public input? Is there any other public input in there? I can't see.
Regarding the Hales location discussion, Joe Haas points to RSA 21J35:35 for how the selectmen can contest the local education school tax rate as it is supposed to be funded, reference the Conval case, and he cites that as well.
You'd already spoken about that.
Yeah, you can just add it a little bit, yeah.
All right. Okay, what we'll do now is we're going to shut down the Zoom meeting and we're going to go into non-public and we're going to open a private Zoom meeting for the non-public. And do we have to reconvene a public meeting afterwards?
I'm sorry, can you give me a second? Joe actually had Joe Haas had a public comment, but I had his microphone muted, if you wouldn't mind. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Terribly sorry, Joe. Yeah.
Joe, you have another public comment?
See where he is. Let him.
Yes,
There you go.
I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Okay. We're sorry you were muted. We didn't hear your public comment.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add another 2 cents here that I presume that this, what is it, Hale's location is I put the word territory, but it's something else. It's like an unincorporated
Unincorporated place, Joe.
place. Okay, so in other words, you get a tax rate from the DRA to send to those residents, like a Board of Selectmen does?
Yes.
Yes.
To send. Okay, well, here's the opportunity that I give credit to Ed for giving me the RSA on this. It's RSA, the 21J there, that every fall, the authority in you have the opportunity to contest the local education tax rate, which is usually 3/4 of our property tax bill, by just filing that with the Department of Revenue Administration. And the issue that you should be bringing up is what is being spelled out in the Conval case, that all of this expense is supposed to be state funded and not so many dollars per thousand of real estate at the local level. And so this would be an excellent opportunity for you to do something about this. And a question I have in addition to a comment is, like, I don't know if you can answer it today or not, but has anybody in that unincorporated place filed an abatement application with you for one of the 3 categories? One is over appraised value, one is poverty or inability to pay, and the third one is the Peter Laughlin book on municipal law that says you can't argue illegality in the abatement process. And that's what I've been trying to do in some of these towns. And it's like, it's really difficult getting somebody to come forward because all of this stuff is so detailed, you know? And I would like to have some venue, somebody somewhere to put this in and, you know, help out everybody. Because I presume you send out tax bills every May and November, like a town does?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just thinking off the top of my head here that the Board of Selectmen usually send a selectmen's warrant over to the tax collector to bill and collect. So I presume you do that to the county treasurer to do, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is what I'd like to have happen, is maybe for you to amend that, this is just my comment, for you to look into this and amend it and not bill these people for what be illegal and unlawful. Because even getting into the SWEP, statewide education property tax, I don't want to take up too much time today, but it says it's a state tax, but it's really not. It's false advertising, in my opinion. And I could go on and on, but I don't want to, bore you to death today. I just thought if you could look into that and get back to me, I'd appreciate it.
The answer to your question was no. No one up at Hales has applied for any of those abatements.
Well, okay, thank you for doing that, because I have been reaching out to other people that have had their abatements denied on overappraised value because they didn't, do a right comparison. And I say, well, why don't you amend it in a motion to reconsider and go on option 3, which nobody in the state has ever done except for me that I know of. I mean, no, let me back up. The only town that ever did that 21J, to the state was Goffstown. But that was on the rate. It wasn't on the unconstitutionality of it, which that's what I'm working on right now. In my own town, but the town doesn't want to deal with it. They just throw up their hands and, don't want to pay attorney's fees for attorney opinions, all that stuff. I could go on and on, but I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Well, thank you very much.
If you could have the treasurer look into that, I'd appreciate it. And then get back to me, or you, or you.
Well,
Thank you.
I would suggest maybe you speak with your county treasurer.
Well, yeah, I'm in Belknap County. I just am a tourist at the Carroll County.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Maybe, maybe the
I'm
people,
not dealing with an unincorporated place here. I'm dealing with the town. And they say, well, go to another town. Because what got me started on this was going to Wolfboro, to the Tobin Walensky information session. I presume you know what I'm talking about. He's been going around, well, they've been going around the state for the whole year, last year, for about 50 different venues, talking about, what the Constitution says. Part 2, Article 5. Taxes are supposed to be proportional. And the only proportional one that is across the board, statewide, is the statewide education property tax, which everybody ought to pay. Whether you have children or not in the schools, that, we need an educated populace. But as far as the local, yes, it has to be paid, but it has to be paid by the state. So when the SAUs put in that RSA 198:4A appropriation request, they're requesting the money from the state. But somebody at the DRA keeps on sending them the tax rate, saying, well, this is how much you're going to charge per thousand. And if that tax rate is anything other than 0, it's unlawful. It's unlawful. And you have the power to, do something about it for the Hales location. And, there's only that 10-day window of opportunity. It's every fall. You have that power. And I thought it could be speeded up by somebody with an abatement to put an amendment in, but that doesn't exist, so I won't even talk about that for the time being. But I mean, you ought to plan for the future, for this fall, to do something about that. That would be excellent.
okay.
That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much,
Thank
Joe,
you.
for your comments.
Thank you.
All right, I make a motion that we go into non-public session. I believe the 3 of them, do they come under C or B?
I have a request from the superintendent that falls under C.
Yes, but you said you had,
Yeah,
And I have something that's under C as well.
okay, and David's is under B.
I think B, yeah.
Okay. So we're going into non-public session. 1 will be RSA 91A32B, the hiring of any person as a public employee. Sessions 2, 3, and 4 will be under RSA 91A32C. Matters which discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body. Unless such person requests an open meeting, the exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy.
And Madam Chair, I was given 2 hiring requests from the county attorney. I believe that would fall under A.
B.
Is it B? Sorry.
So, so 5 and 6 would also be B.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 1 is B. 2, 3, 4, C. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Babson,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes?
Commissioner Bieber.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now, thank you for those who attended. What I would tell you is we're going to shut down the Zoom meeting, and then we're going to go into non-public. I make a motion, we come out of non-public.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Second.
Commissioner Babson,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Yes.
Commissioner Bieber.
Yes.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we seal sessions 1, 2, 3, 4. And we leave 5 and 6
Second.
unsealed.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Babson,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes?
Commissioner Bieber.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Was there something we had to do in public?
I will have the bills
Two
for you
hires?
next week. And do you want to announce the hires or?
No, I don't know.
I don't think we do
In
that.
sections 6 and 7, we hired 2 new personnel in the attorney's office. One is an assistant for the domestic violence lawyer, and the other was a new administrative assistant. And I think that's it.
Madam Chair, can you please go through you said 7 sessions, I didn't hear 7 before.
No, it's only 6.
So that was 5 and 6. There is no 7.
Oh, there is no 7, I'm sorry. They're right, 5 and 6.
5 and 6 are sealed.
1, 2, 3, 4 were sealed, and 5 and 6 were not. Those were the new hires. Okay.
John's here if you want to talk to him after.
Okay. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
So moved.
All those in favor? Roll call?
Commissioner Babson,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes?
Commissioner Bieber.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.